What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Baltimore Ravens Rundown. My name is Joey Peterson. It is the most wonderful time of the year. And I'm not talking Christmas. I'm not talking holidays. I'm talking rivalry games and big ones at that, of course. Sunday's matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers is going to be absolutely massive in terms of the Ravens' chances to make the postseason. Because right now, they currently sit at a 64% chance to win the division. And with 6 losses through 13 weeks, winning the division is basically their only ticket at getting into the playoffs. They're not going to be able to make it in the wild card unless pretty much everybody else loses every other game they play for the rest of this season. Right now, 64% with a win. That goes up to 76%, but with a loss, that is almost detrimental to the season and drops them down all the way to a 30% chance to win this division. So when I tell you it is massive to get this win against Pittsburgh, I mean that it is massive. This is the biggest game of the year, and it's not even necessarily close. Now, I will tell you this, the good news and the good thing is Baltimore has been in this spot already in 2025 multiple times. When you start out your season 1-5, there are a lot of games that are, quote, must-win games that you got to play after that. I would have argued the first game out of the bye week against the Chicago Bears, that was a must-win ball game. Guess what they did? They won that with Tyler Huntley against a team who's only lost 2 other games the rest of this season. This is a huge game, and they have to come out victorious. If you want to make sure that happens, though, make sure to like the video. I was looking back at the most recent preview that we did against the Bengals. 67 likes. I think there's some pretty direct correlation with the like number and the bad loss. So to make sure that doesn't happen again, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. I need at least 300, okay? I want to get 4 times that amount on today's show. Boom, like the video. So we'll start with a couple of bits of injury news, then we'll get into keys to victory. Right now, Nate Wiggins is considered day-to-day per Harbaugh yesterday. We all know he's dealing with a foot injury and missed the entire second half against Thursday night's game against Cincinnati. Washington is going to be out for the season, as we know, with that neck injury. But Patrick Queen is currently to be determined, dealing with a lower back injury that he suffered against their game against the Bills. They have not announced what his game status is going to be. They have not announced what his practice status is going to be. Of course, we'll be keeping you updated on that one as Patrick Queen makes his second ever, or I guess third ever, return to Baltimore since signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers. My keys to victory, number 1. I think this one's probably going to be the most important. I think that Todd Monken needs to do a little bit of a better job at scheming up quick passes for Lamar Jackson, okay? For 2 reasons. Number 1, with the current state of the offensive line, Lamar is just not going to have any time. He hasn't had any time all season, and I don't expect that to change going up against the defensive line that has Cameron Hayward and T.J. Watt. So it's going to be beneficial if your offense wants to sustain long drives and touchdowns to get quick passes to keep those chains moving. And also, I think over the last couple of games, you've seen him just not really ever get into a rhythm. It's been weird. And I think this would help him get into a rhythm much earlier. Okay, you see this done for younger quarterbacks, for rookie quarterbacks, for freshman quarterbacks when it comes to college football. And I mean no disrespect to Lamar Jackson when I say this. I feel like they've got to get back to him just getting in a rhythm. So give him a couple screen passes, give him a couple slants. It just felt like every pass he was attempting in last Thursday's game was like 15 yards down the field. Felt like he never got into a rhythm against Cincinnati because from the beginning, it was a very run-heavy first drive, and then after that, the inaccuracy showed, and he kind of stayed in that slump that he had been in for the rest of that game. I mean, look at the last 2 games. His average depth of target, Week 12 and Week 13, against Cleveland, 11.4 yards, and against Cincinnati, 12.1 yards. Guys, that is a really, really deep average depth of target. In fact, that would rank him at the tops of the National Football League, and I think that is part of what's going into his lack of completion percentage, lack of touchdowns, and way less yards thrown for. You think of Tyler Huntley. His average depth of target against Chicago, 9.3 yards. And that's even a little bit larger than I thought it originally was when I was doing the deep dive into the statistics. Lamar Jackson's average depth of target in one of his best games this season against Miami was 9.4 yards. So I feel like that is the sweet spot right there. Now, I'm not saying just be check down Charlie all day long, but I think it's going to help him a ton. if you just, limit the deep throws, especially to start this game. Do you want Lamar to have a bounce-back game? If you do, don't jinx it. Hit that thumbs up button. Like today's video. That way we can make sure it happens. Lock it in. So lock it in with me with hitting that like button. Number 2, you got to be able to take away the running game when you're playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I usually say this because the team's rushing offense is phenomenal. But that's not really the case for the Pittsburgh Steelers this season. But guess what? It's not really the case for their passing game either. You could see their ranks across the National Football League for both sides of their offense, running and passing, in yards per game, yards per play, and EPA per rush or pass. They pretty much stand at the exact same spot, which is middle to back half of the National Football League, right? They have no choice as a football team but to be balanced because they're not really great at either thing. So they have to run the football. They have to throw the football. And Jaylen Warren, frankly, he's had a fine season. But does Jaylen Warren strike the fear of God into you? Because personally, he does not for me. Now, it would be very Baltimore Ravens for us to say that right now and then him just go out and absolutely put up like 250 against you and run the ball all over you. But in my opinion, I am in the camp of make Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver room, who their second best wide receiver is Roman Wilson, make them dice you up. Make them throw it all over the yard against you because guess what? They've been horrible at it for the last 36 days. They haven't completed a downfield pass in 36 days. They're 0 for 13, 3 interceptions in the last 5 games combined on 20-yard or more air passes. So that's the key to this game. Take away Jaylen Warren because then that puts the offense in the hands of these wide receivers and a 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers. Number 3, win the turnover battle. This one's going to be pretty dang massive because we all know you had 5 turnovers against Cincinnati. And frankly, ladies and gentlemen, that is unacceptable, and that is the sole reason you lost that football game, right? There are many reasons you lost that game, but if you had to pick one that was the biggest, easily it would be the turnovers. And they also just kind of came at the absolute worst times. Of course, I'm thinking about that Isaiah Likely fumble out of the back of the end zone. That was going to be a touchdown. Of course, I'm also thinking about Lamar Jackson's fumble inside the own 15-yard line, and you're lucky your defense was able to make a stop as well. But you can't do that back-to-back weeks, especially against the Pittsburgh Steelers team that is number 1 in the NFL in forced fumbles and number 1 in the NFL in fumbles recovered. 16 forced fumbles and 11 fumbles recovered in the 2025 NFL season for Pittsburgh right there. And this isn't just a one-off stat when it comes to the Steelers. We've seen this happen every single year. This is what Mike Tomlin does. This is what Cam Hayward and TJ Watt do. They're so good at ripping the ball out and getting those strip sacks. Like when I think of Lamar Jackson, 2 hands on it in the pocket at all times. Leads. Chris Collinsworth, or is it Chris Collinsworth? It's actually Jason Garrett and Mike Tirico. We're talking about Joe Burrow in that ball game on Thursday night. And they mentioned that every single time Joe Burrow steps forward or steps backward in the pocket, he keeps 2 hands on the football, just like Lamar Jackson has right there. Well, a ton of Lamar Jackson's fumbles this year haven't even been strip sacks when he's in his throwing motion. They've been strip sacks, but he's just holding the ball like this in the pocket. 2 hands on. Okay? Let's protect that football. What's your score prediction for this game? You let me know in the comment section down below. I'm going to give you my score prediction very end of today's show, but get yours in for me right now in the comments. We got a lot more to get into, but I would like to get into my favorite sponsor on today's show to tell you guys how awesome this deal we've got for you guys at PrizePicks. If you download the PrizePicks app, use our code CLNS. You get $50 in lineups. All you got to do is play your first $5 lineup. It's the holiday season, which means it is the best time of the year for sports. Bowl games, basketball matches, playoff pushes. It's all happening at once. So while you and I are out here making decisions every day, what gifts to buy, what to eat, which game to watch, there's one place where it feels good to be right. That's PrizePicks. PrizePicks now has early payouts. If your lineup gets off to a hot start, you may now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. On PrizePicks, how you play is up to you. If you want flexibility, choose FlexPlay, where you can get paid even if one of your picks misses. And if you want the biggest payouts, go for the power play. No matter your play, Prize Picks is a great way to put your takes to the test. Here's my Prize Picks lineup for Sunday's game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I got Lamar and Derrick Henry, 86.5 rushing yards. Lamar and Aaron Rodgers, 19.5 completions. Give me the more on Zay Flowers, 64.5 receiving yards. A little bit more on why I feel good on that one coming up later in this week, but I just feel like it's going to be a good game, especially for Zay Flowers. So download the Prize Picks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. The link to this promo is in the comments and description of today's video. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Number 4, you got to pressure Aaron Rodgers, okay? This is imperative. You got to put pressure on their quarterback all game long. And there's multiple reasons for that. Now, you look at the pressure statistics for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they actually have allowed less quarterback pressures than anybody else in the National Football League. But that's not because their offensive line is so good. It's because Aaron Rodgers is so good at getting the football out fast. Very similar to what you saw with Tom Brady in his years in Tampa Bay. Just a savvy veteran that's seen it all before 1,000 times, knows where to go, and knows where to go quickly with the football. However, 21.5% of the times that he is pressured, those result in sacks, which is a top 10 metric in the National Football League or top 10 statistic in the NFL. Now, the reason I want to put pressure on Aaron Rodgers, he's beat up as hell, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, this was a look at him in their Sunday loss against the Buffalo Bills where he took a beating. This was directly after a sack late in that game. I'm not saying that Aaron Rodgers is just going to straight give up, but I'll tell you two things. He is visibly beat and he is visibly frustrated. So if you tap into that and you hit him and you hit him and you keep on hitting him, I'm not going to tell you he's going to give up, but that frustration's going to bubble up a little bit more, and that's never good for a 42-year-old quarterback, especially when he doesn't have great weapons or a great offense in general. And number 5, you got to be able to make the play late. Same thing we always talk about. Same thing we always say in regards to these games, especially big games, especially rivalry games. With the way that both of these teams have been playing right now, I see no place where this is a runaway game for Pittsburgh or it is a runaway game for Baltimore. Both teams have been playing pretty bad football and just showed horrible football in their most recent game. So I think it's going to be a close one. And because of that, there's going to be times late where you need your defense to score a touchdown. Defense to get a stop. You need your offense to score a touchdown. Hell, you might just need your offense to get a couple of first downs. Who's going to be able to do that? Is it going to be Baltimore? Is it going to be Pittsburgh? The one who's able to make it happen, they're going to be the ones that win the game. I think the Ravens win the game. I get it. They just looked horrible against Cincinnati, but they're coming off of a little bit of a mini bye. They'll have more rest going into this game than Pittsburgh will. They'll have a 3-day edge over them when it comes to rest. And also, they're 5-2 in their last 7. Pittsburgh's 2-5. So maybe you didn't like what you saw on Thursday. What they've been giving us for the last month and a half has been much better than what Pittsburgh has been giving their fans over the last month and a half. Make sure you guys got me followed on social media. Joey Peterson 8, Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Daily videos right here at the Baltimore Ravens Rundown. We'll get another video out for you tomorrow morning and then live tomorrow afternoon. It's going to be a great week. Make sure you're with us.